Drake is one of the biggest artists in the world, whether you love him or not. But being on top puts a target on your head, and that's exactly what happened to Drake throughout his 20-year career as a music artist. From big names like Kendrick Lamar and Kanye West to some smaller names in the industry, Drake has publicly feuded with so many artists through music and social media. Starting with his most recent beef with Kendrick Lamar. The feud between the two took over the internet after J. Cole hopped on a track with Drake and said the top 3 rappers right now is Drake, himself, and Kendrick Lamar. No one thought much of that until Kendrick Lamar went on the song Like That a few months later with Future and Metro Boomin and called out J. Cole and Drake, saying he's number 1 and J. Cole and Drake are under him. After that, the feud exploded and Drake and Kendrick went back and forth with multiple diss tracks attacking each other personally, exposing secrets using whatever they can grab onto to offend each other. This went on for a few weeks until abruptly ending publicly, and today these two still seem to have a vendetta against each other as the beef went unsolved. But a beef that most still remember is the one between Drake and Pusha T. It all started with Lil Wayne and Pusha T going back and forth with each other, which Drake was part of the same label and close to Lil Wayne, making him guilty by association. In 2016, Pusha T called out Drake for using ghostwriters. Drake responded on Two Birds One Stone, calling out his credibility in the rap game, which set the stage for everything. Pusha T released his album Daytona, calling out Drake in multiple songs, with the song Infrared being a straight shot. That same day, Drake released Duppy Freestyle, responding to Pusha T. All was well in Drake's favor until just a few days later, Pusha T responded with the story of Adidon, exposing to the world that Drake has a son. This really shook up the world as no one knew about it, and till this day it still haunts Drake. Drake later officially confirmed it's true and was going to respond with another diss track, but J Prince stopped him from doing it, saying it would have gotten really ugly because of how personal it was. From there to today, the two have dissed each other in songs and interviews and still dislike each other to this day, making it one of the most infamous rap beefs of modern time. But another major beef was between two of the biggest names in hip-hop, Drake and Kanye West. Early on, the two respected each other, worked with each other, and even hinted at a collab album until in 2018 when Drake went out to Wyoming to work with Kanye. Drake told Kanye he has a son and showed him pictures and discussed family issues in secret, which is when Pusha T released his diss track revealing all of this, and of course Drake knew this was all because of Kanye telling Pusha T. The two then dissed each other in songs and social media posts, but then again the peacemaker J Prince called for a truce and reunited the two, and they performed on stage together in LA. The two still seem to have a weird love and hate relationship, but not a strong public beef. Metro Boomin is one of the biggest and greatest producers of the 2010s and 2020s and has worked alongside Drake for so many songs like Jumpman, Company, Sacrifices, and that's only to name a few. The relationship between the two seemed to be good until in 2022, Drake released his collab album Her Loss with 21 Savage, who is a close friend and collaborator to Metro Boomin. The album went viral with millions of memes coming out about few songs on the album, and despite 21 Savage being on the album, Metro Boomin did not publicly support it and released his own album just 4 weeks later, which did not feature Drake, even though Drake had recorded a verse for it. Metro went on complaining about Her Loss winning awards over his album Heroes and Villains. Drake addressed it, saying, "I know producers who are mad they didn't win Album of the Year," and telling Metro Boomin to shut up and make beats in his diss track aimed at Kendrick Lamar. But today nothing else has been said about each other, but it's well known these two don't like each other anymore. A feud that's pretty forgotten at this point is Drake and Chris Brown. Chris Brown and Rihanna had an on and off relationship for years until in 2009 Chris started throwing hands with her and of course broke up after that. Drake was then seen in public multiple times with Rihanna, which caused Chris Brown to feel disrespected. A few years later in 2012, Drake's crew and Chris's crew were in the club at the same time and a fight broke out between the two, and they blamed each other for starting it. The two subtly dissed each other in songs, interviews, and social media posts for years until in 2018 they both appeared on stage at a Drake show and then collaborated on a song in 2019, which topped at number 5 on Billboard, pulling over 1 billion streams, and from there it has been a respected relationship. But another low-key and quick beef is the one between Drake and Tyga. These two were part of the same label for years and appeared on songs together until Tyga distanced himself from the label and called out Drake in an interview for being fake and he doesn't like him as a person. Drake then took a shot at Tyga on 6 p.m. in New York, telling him to act his girl's age, as Tyga was dating Kylie Jenner at the time, who was underage. Nothing else was said about it until Tyga came out in an interview saying they squashed the feud privately, and Tyga appeared on stage with Drake just a few months later, and that was the end of it. But a feud that helped Drake release his best diss track ever was his episode with Meek Mill. The two collabed together in 2012 and performed on stage, and all was well until in 2015, after their collab song Rico, Meek Mill tweeted out that Drake doesn't use his own raps and uses ghostwriters, which went viral. This hurt Drake's reputation, who was on top of the world at the time, and responded with his song Charged Up, and then his hit diss track back to back with multiple lines coming straight at Meek Mill's neck. Meek Mill took way too long to respond, and when he did with Wanna Know, it flopped and he was made fun of. The two had a feud until in 2017 when Meek Mill went to prison and gained support from Drake and his team. Meek was released in 2018 and appeared on stage with Drake, ending the beef and dropping the hit song Going Bad that same year, becoming Meek Mill's biggest song ever with over 1 billion streams, and the two have been cool ever since. Another low-key beef was between Drake and Common. Similar to the Chris Brown situation, Common was in a relationship with tennis player Serena Williams, and after they split up, Drake and Serena were seen publicly multiple times, which got Common upset. Common in 2011 released the song Sweet, calling Drake soft, which Drake responded in 2012 on the song Stay Scheming, saying he's acting like a female. Common then hopped on that same beat, again calling him soft, and from there nothing happened until in 2014 Common said that he was in his feelings and they squashed their issues privately. Drake and Childish Gambino have the smallest feud on the list. In 2018, Childish Gambino released the hit song This Is America, pulling hundreds of millions of streams. And 5 years later, Gambino came out and said it was originally a diss track aimed at Drake. Drake that same year on his tour had screen visuals that said, "The overrated and over-awarded This Is America was originally a Drake diss." And that was it. Nothing else was said from the two about each other. Drake and Rick Ross have been friends for over a decade, with Drake even saying Rick Ross is his favorite collaborator with so many songs together. It wasn't until the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar erupted, Rick Ross went on to release a diss track Champagne Moments calling Drake fake, accusing him of plastic surgery and using ghostwriters. Drake responded on his song Family Matters, calling him fat, saying his career failed, and that he's the opposite of what he preaches online. Until today, the two have been dissing each other subliminally in interviews and social media posts, ending their long-time relationship. Once again, there's another beef over a woman, and over the same one mentioned earlier, Rihanna. A$AP Rocky officially started dating Rihanna in 2020, and not much happened, only Drake unfollowing A$AP Rocky and A$AP Mob members, until in 2023, after Kendrick Lamar's beef, the two dissed each other in so many tracks with so many lines clearly aimed at each other. And before all of this, the two had a very respectable relationship, both supporting each other publicly, but all of that is gone now. The beef between Drake and Kid Cudi was a brief one. In 2016, Cudi came out of nowhere on Twitter dissing Kanye, Drake, and the entire industry for being fake. That same year, Drake released the song Two Birds, One Stone aimed at Kid Cudi and Pusha T, making fun of Cudi's mental health after he just checked into rehab. Cudi responded, telling him to say it to his face, and after that nothing happened until in 2022, Cudi appeared on a song with Drake on his album, and Cudi said that they talked and squashed what they had. And Drake has feuded with so many names in the industry, with those being the biggest names. But anyways, if you love music, be sure to subscribe for more of it, and I will see you next week. Peace.